Yo, you on here? All right, we are live. We are positive. In fact, that's why we're letting the beat rock out here for a little bit, trying to get some good positive momentum. We know it's going to be an emotional hole to dig out of for most Mariners fans, but we're happy here on the Rye Bread and Mustard of Mariners podcast at Down on the Docks on the other side of the tracks. Dive Bar podcast, a 5-star Dive Bar podcast, I should say, of and about the Mariners, because we got some forward momentum. First series win in 7 series? It's been since I believe the Mariners took out the Texas Rangers and had a huge lead, and then we've been on this slide. We've been on this war within ourselves as fans. Frustrating continuation with our bitching and moaning with the ownership and the front office, and we finally have a series win. We saw a big premiere, Mariners premiere, a debut, I should say, with Gregory Santos. We saw an offensive outburst we had been waiting for, and then we saw another typical Mariners win here in Game 2 of the Padres series. What's going on, Hanno?
Yeah, there's nothing typical about that second victory. Polo came in and had the game-winning hit.
You are right. All right. You're right. I take it back. That was not typical. I mean, hey, let's be honest. Polo had a. This is the best series we've seen him have in a while.
Man, he's maybe turned the corner. No, it's early. It's only 2 games. No, I mean the Mariners could, kick it down in Anaheim. But man, he looks a little better at the plate. Hit the ball hard. The first baseman should have gotten the ball to score the first. Cal freaking steal to put us in position, and then he had that RBI and a walk. So good on him, man. A little confidence for the guy.
Yeah, in our last episode, I think we talked about not throwing all this blame onto Jorge Polanco. Not the sole reason why the Mariners' offense is historically bad. There was the article that came out on the Seattle Times on what was that, Monday? It was pretty rough, breaking down how bad the offense has been on the slide and just what they've done all season. And for the Mariners, they know this, and they hear this, and and somebody that comes in their locker rooms writing this, and that's the best way to counteract that. Go out there and shut them up. I saw the most fire out of players in this Game 1 of this series.
Yeah, the newcomer, like you mentioned, Santos, he's got a little red ass in him, runs pretty high. I mean, I haven't seen a guy like that. Maybe Norm back in the day, Arthur Rhodes, tough and, owns the inside of the plate, as they used to say.
Dude, in his first batter, I should say, I thought we were maybe going to have a fight there with Profar. I know he busted him inside twice and kind of had his hands up. I thought the Root Sports cameraman did a terrible job, or whoever was calling or directing that episode. It was pretty, or that show or that game. Sorry, been out there down in Gaslamp. Been a long day down here in San Diego. But yeah, I thought it was kind of strange how they didn't keep the cameras on those guys. They kind of like panned away and cut away. I thought something was going to go down, especially when Santos got his arm budged there by Profar running through when he was running through first base.
Yeah, it was a little. I mean, that's a typical Profar move. He's kind of a jerk, a little nudge at the end, but I mean, that big Bison Santos would destroy Profar. I mean, Jesus.
Oh my God! I was standing out next to the bullpen today. That guy is huge. It's huge. I believe maybe he's taller than Salcedo. I mean, they're about the same size, but Santos is much, much thicker and firmer and, built more like a brick shit house than Salcedo.
watching the game show and the one they asked Scott in the little media scrum after, and the tone has changed, and he goes, "That's a bad man." It was awesome.
My God, that's what the Mariners need. I will say something that they were missing from last year was definitely that edge that Caballero brought to the team, or the don't fuck around with this guy of Eugenio Suarez, who's a nice guy, but there is that edge that is missing that we've seen in these last couple of seasons. Julio, and I want to say specifically our all-star Logan Gilbert, just their game faces were amazing in game one in this series. I don't know if you saw some of their facial expressions they had, but we hadn't seen that kind of stuff in a while. I think we're in a little bit of a delay.
I certainly noticed Logan when Scott came to take him out. I mean, he was just absolutely rolling there. It's 7 innings at like 60 some pitches, and then gave up the couple jacks. Oh man, that guy, he was freaking stone faced pissed. He didn't even look at service. I don't think it was so much of Scott taking him out. It was just how pissed he was. He was giving up those balls.
Yeah, I mean that's I'm sure the memes are already out there. That was an awesome face, and with Julio too in that game, he just looked just like a man possessed, and like he can get hot like this once in a while. It'd be like to see a little bit more consistency, here in game two. He matched his 4 for 4 for number 44 with 4 for 4 with the golden sombrero here in game 2.
Yeah, baseball, man, it's a cruel sport at times, but that's why we love it. I mean, it's so awesome about this game. One day you can be on cloud 9, and the next day it's down in the gutter. But it's a rough game for him, but I think he's got trending in the right direction.
I mean, he threw a guy out at home plate, so I don't feel like that golden sombrero. And you get your first series win in 7 tries. And God, we say, hey, this is the first series win we have seen in 7 series, but I'm trying to remember when the last road series that we had that we won. It's got to be a while ago. Definitely, the Mariners are got themselves in a good position for possibly their first winning road trip in a long time. I know you got 4 games still ahead of you. You only played 2, but you got 2 of them, and one would think the Padres series was going to be the tougher of the 2 series. I mean, they have similar records. They got good players over there. It's a good team. San Diego packs their house. I mean, it was packed in there today. So it was good, fun baseball played in front of there was about, I don't know, I'll have to go look at the attendance, but there was close to 40,000 today on a Wednesday on a 3:40 start. I can't believe they did that today. Down here in San Diego, they had their celebration of the 1984 Padres team. So when you walked in the stadium, if you're watching this on YouTube, you got yourself a 1984 Padres hat. Also can double as a UPS uniform hat. But nonetheless, got a good chance to check out Petco Park. I hadn't been down here since spring training. And shit, the last time I was down here, the Mariners were stroking the ball in that last game of spring training or exhibition game. And if you were watching this first game, you'd been like, and missed everything else that happened up until that game that they just played. I would just be shocked to know what has happened between then and now, because I thought this team, and as we started this podcast off this season, we were talking about guys like Polanco, Garver, all these guys that were like, these guys hit the ball fucking hard. Yeah, all the strikeouts have happened. The strikeouts have not subsided in this series, even though there were some other positives. The strikeouts were still there. I just kind of feel like Hanno, that's just something that's probably never going to go away with this particular personnel that they have.
Yeah, no chance. It's just part of their game, their game plan. I mean, and their approaches. And I mean, pitching's changed so much as it is, and even though you change the players' names on the back last year, it's still the same names on it. So it's real familiar with what last year was, and has gotten. If they hit the long ball like they do, it seems like they always have a better chance to win in those times. It's hard to believe that they can continue, so they're gonna, need to do more like today. Cal stealing you a base, getting you in a scoring position, and manufacturing a few runs. But this second game just proved to me what Mariner baseball is. I mean, only 4 hits, and we
Yeah.
get the dub. I mean, just kind of how it's been this year.
Yeah, and the other reason why they won this game, they played better defense than San Diego did. One of the runs came up. I mean, excuse me. One of the runs was provided by not so great defense there. I think in the second inning by San Diego, and it was Polanco's ball that was misplayed, and then it was Polanco's single that gave you the insurance run. But yeah, they couldn't get that run in there in the top of the ninth, I believe it was, to give Munoz a little bit of more of a cushion. We also saw Stanek here in game 2 go in there and not quite finish the job, and we had to have Munoz come out for the 4-out save. But hey, he didn't have to pitch yesterday when the Mariners broke out the bat, so you were able to do that, and you were able to do that because you had Santos go in there yesterday in the 9th inning and clean up.
Yeah. Munoz leading the league, they mentioned on the broadcast, was 6 5-out saves. So just another reason to hopefully see him in the All-Star game. I was nervous, though. I mean, I was like, here we go again. Munoz couldn't find the zone, but, they talked to him, Cal and everything, and he was able to find and get that slider over and then go upstairs. But, yeah, we kind of hold off. It would have been a big bummer if they would have lost the game.
Yeah, definitely. And when that liner did come off the bat, I know when I saw the TV replay of it, it definitely looked like it was scarier than it was in person. It looked very soft and very weak contact there. But yeah, the last couple of innings, I was right down there by the bullpen. Hearing the phone ring, we put some of that stuff on our social media. I think we have Stanek warming up, Saucedo, Thornton, Munoz. It was interesting because Munoz was getting ready, like how we normally. Okay, hold on one second. We might hold. Everybody that's watching live, we have a little.
You're back.
There we go. Are we back? Are we better? Well, we are here. Sometimes you stay at a hotel and you got some shitty internet. Wouldn't think I would have the shitty internet at the Marriott here in San Diego. Anyways, while we wait for Hanno, just want to say again, thanks for liking, subscribing, and all of that good shit. Also, here we go. Hanno's coming back. I think. Is that better?
Yo.
Hello, can you hear me?
It's gone at this time. You're fine. Yeah.
Oh boy. No. Anyways,
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, cool. We're back. Fun. Well, that's what happens when you do live stuff, especially when you're going on the road here. Like I was saying, I think the Marriott would have a little bit better internet than I don't know. We've done a podcast at the Studio 6 Motel up there at in Mount Lake Terrace, and I had better internet. Uh, anyhow, I was talking about the bullpen today. It was interesting how Munoz had to like speed up a bit there to get in there in the eighth. His usual getting ready. You could see the bullpen coach actually doing something, telling them to hurry up. Had to answer that phone a whole bunch there in the eighth and ninth inning. But yeah, they look like they had Thornton and Saucedo up. But yeah, he ended up getting that ground ball, getting the strikeout, and then getting the soft liner. So
Yeah.
and like you said, leads MLB in the with the 4 out saves. He's leads in that category. So with that being said, with Logan pitching here, on Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember. It's not in front of me right now, but he's not going to pitch in the All-Star game, which he still goes to the All-Star game. He's still going to be, recognized as an All-Star, be there to tip his cap. But it does open up a position on the AL team, especially in the pitching department. And look, Logan's been advocating for him. We all think Munoz should be there, and I think if the Mariners didn't take such a slide here in the last month, and there was more opportunities for just regular old saves, I think Munoz would already be in there.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good year. One of the best of his really has been the reason for us getting off to the hot start we did with closing down games. Yeah, so they came out and announced that he's not going to pitch, even though he is starting this weekend, I think Sunday. That's interesting. I didn't know they announced it already that he's not going to partake in the game.
Yeah, I either read that on Seattle Times or Seattle Sports, but he's definitely not gonna be throwing in the game, which I'm all fine. Of course, I would love to see one of our pitchers pitch in the game, but there are bigger there are bigger matters at hand, and it does suck for maybe a pitcher versus a position player where you don't really have to monitor your rest when it comes to the All-Star game. I mean, you do, but by playing a partial game. But we've seen guys like Julio, for example, do a lot during the All-Star week, play in the game, do the big home run derby, put on a show like that, and it takes a toll on your body. And I do feel like the rest is great.
Yeah, speaking of All-Stars, I see your boy Oscar Hernandez is going to be in the home run derby.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, it's this. Yeah. I I hope he wins. How about that? I hope Teoscar wins. I really do. I really do hope he wins.
Did you say something?
Joe, as far as is that better?
I can hear you again now. Yep. I just
All right.
heard that for a sec. You were.
We're trudging.
A minute ago.
Yeah, we're trudging through the show like the Mariners had to trudge through this dark spot of the season. I would say though, speaking of home runs, we have to mention Cal Raleigh. I mean, it's not that I forgot to mention Cal Raleigh. He's usually one of the only shining points, him and Luke Raley, when it comes to the offense this season on any regular basis. And with Cal, it's the home runs. We see him get 2 home runs in this first game, one from each side of the plate. What do you got to say about that and those home runs?
Yeah, he's a leader of his own now as far as Mariners go. There's been a few guys that have switched or hit one from each side of the plate, and Cal's the only one to do it 2 times. The other time he did it was back in Boston. But yeah, just pitches, that were. He stayed on a little out front, got nothing but barrel, and just put him in the seats. I mean, it was big. I mean, it was really nice to see our big guys, like you mentioned, Julio and Cal, really take over that game and just piss on the ball.
Yeah, those and like we were talking about that. I know everybody else is talking about, but we were specifically going like JP, Ty, Cal, Julio have got to get it going. Bottom line, and listen, the two
Oh
guys
yeah,
that yeah, I was gonna say the two guys that are your cornerstone guys that you are going to be part of the future. You would think are out of those four are Julio and Cal, and they got it going. And then what do you know? Somebody that I wouldn't have been surprised if they DFA'd him. I think the only reason they didn't DFA Polanco is because you're paying what $5 million for the rest of the year for him to go away, and also he did, to be fair, coming off an injury a couple of weeks ago, but he definitely had this time on the bench, and you've seen how he's reacted to it. Still a little bit iffy in the field for me, but it seems like
oh
he's had
absolutely.
it seems like he's had better at bats. He's taken some walks, and again, I didn't think all the blame should have been on him, but the second base position, particularly, is a sore spot for the Mariners and Mariner fans.
Yeah, I agree. His approaches have definitely gotten better. Yeah, like you mentioned, his walks. He's been making contact now, and it's definitely helped him out. But I agree with you. The lackadaisicalness on defense at times, especially late in the that routine grounder, or I shouldn't say it was routine. The one he charged in game one late in the game was at the ninth. It's just
Yeah.
I was surprised he just didn't come up with it. But then today, he gets that rocket from Machado, spins, makes a great pick on that short hop and throws him out. So it's just, I get he's just one of those players. But he just if the M's are gonna do what they want to do, I think that we're gonna need it bat to come alive a little bit more. I mean, so. But Dylan carry us earlier in the year when JP was out. If it's not going to work out with him, they'll definitely slide Demo in, like they did when they benched Polo.
I agree. And it's going to be interesting what they're going to do here in San Diego. I think for some of these players, this is the week this week, and of course when you're playing Houston, a lot of these guys say good. When I say a lot of them, I mean 3 or 4 of them. They're really playing for their jobs right now, and I am looking forward to seeing what they can do with it. I think Polanco was definitely on that list. I still feel like Ty France is on that list. One of the guys that was kind of on the list was Canzone. He's gotten injured, so you're getting to see Jonathan Clase again. But it seems like in Anaheim, they're kind of patchworking a rotation together for this series. And I think Clase is going to, I think they have lefty going in the first 2 games, I believe. So Clase, you're going to see him out there. A lot of speed right now on the team, and it's just a matter of getting them on base. And when they get on base, we got to stop seeing the LOBs all over the scorecard.
I don't know who they're pitching game one, but game 2 Friday they got Tyler Anderson going. Who knows with him a couple years ago. Really like his stuff. And he's had a really good year so far. I wouldn't be surprised traded at the deadline. I've even heard Houston might be interested since they're lacking starting pitching with both of their starters out with injury for the year. So it'll be a nice little test for the Mariners against him on Friday. So, but you're right. It'll be Clase time to see what he can do again.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've just been uninterested too of what's going on in the play you're seeing from Kansas. I know he injured this diving. That's 2 injuries now from him out in the outfield. I know crashing into a wall and making this catch, they're hustle injuries, so you can't fault the guy and you feel bad for him. But outside that, he's just been quite boring, except for a home run now and then.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the Mariners pitch players, position players in the outfield, he's got the least amount of time on them in the major leagues. But yeah, watching his at bats, the way some of the hacks he takes and his discipline of chasing, it's been tough. So I agree with you there. And then defensively he does okay, but he takes some awkward routes and stuff like that. He's just not polished yet as a player. So it's either you got take it. He's going to try to work through it, but plate discipline for me is big when I watch him.
Yeah. And let's talk about, well, since we've worked up all the positives here. Obviously, the big positive is seeing Logan bounce back here against the Padres, like we talked about, and Bryce Miller. Um, Phenomenal starts, right?
Yeah, uh, Logan was dialed in, like you mentioned early. Awesome to watch. I mean, he had that breaking ball going. I mean, it was fantastic. I hadn't seen a right-hander for the Mariners have that type of hammer in a long time. I mean, it wasn't quite up to the 12-6 Eric Hansen hammer back in the day, but man, he was throwing that for strikes and guys were chasing. And then the thing about Miller, I mean, he was good today too. Not much contact, but he wasn't striking anybody out. Just 1K for him today, but kept them off the bases and let them make contact and was able to get a win. He struggled on the road, so good for both of them. But what a backup performance of getting announced to the All Star game by Logan. I mean, he looked like an All Star. Totally good game by him.
Yeah, and you're right. You get named to the All Star team, and you kind of have not your greatest start, you know, and then you bounce back like this, and just to be like, no, 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 I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Absolutely, it was warranted, and he showed it. I mean, even Cal mentioned that in the post game, how Logan was really dialed in. That even you think of Logan as he thought he was very composed and calm through his mechanics. It's interesting to hear from Cal because he analyzes those guys so much. But yeah, he was on it. He was fantastic.
Yeah, and Miller, it's good to see him have success outside of T-Mobile Park. And really, when you look over at Miller, his ERA is not that bad either. You know, another guy below 4. Uh, I really feel like this All-Star break's going to be something really good. This is going to be really good for Miller. I think the extra time off, you're probably going to see that a little freshness coming off of that fastball, I think, after the break.
Yeah, I mean, I don't look at the stats all the time, but I was surprised. I didn't know he's up to 7 wins now, so that's on him. Even though that's not the biggest stat for pitchers anymore. And I mean, honestly, between him, I'm excited to see what Wu can do this
Yeah.
next series to end up since coming back and from that hamstring injury. So our two young guys down at the bottom, just seeing how they're going to be able to perform this second half, where they definitely ran out of gas last year. So you're right; they're going to need to get some rest over the All Star break, and they should be big for us. I'm looking to see how much they're going to take the next step in the second half.
Yeah, and after the All-Star break, I mean, we'll probably talk about this on Sunday night, but you're going to have Spire back, as well as you're adding Santos, and barring any injuries out there. Wow, that depth in that bullpen is, it's going to be second to none.
Oh yeah, I mean it was awesome. Just thinking of the what ifs after watching Santos and Mooney coming back in this second game. But the what ifs, if what if we had Brash and how exciting that bullpen could be. But you're right. You've had guys like Saucedo step up, Vote, and Spire coming back. I mean that's a good little force that you feel really comfortable with Spire, Stanek, Munoz, and Santos. Not in that order, but yeah, it is something to look forward
Yeah,
to.
I
I mean,
mean,
it's a big deal.
you legitimately have two guys that you'd feel comfortable, and I'd even say maybe even three with Stanek, arrested Stanek. I like Stanek more in a setup situation, but you have Munoz and you have Santos. And look, Santos debuted in the ninth. I think he was going in anyways when the lead was going to be a bit bigger. There's going to be more of a cushion, but what was a 4-run deficit? That's still it's not a save, but it's about as close as you're going to get to it not being a save. And in the last couple of innings, the Padres had the offensive momentum going into the ninth inning. Whether you want to agree with that or not, that's what I think. And but I thought that was a good spot for him to go in.
You talking
Like, I
about
felt like
Stanek
there
or
was enough.
Santos?
Yeah, I felt like there was enough pressure, but not too much pressure. I thought that was a great spot for him.
Oh yeah, Gregory. Heck yeah. I mean, Scott said he wanted to have a little soft landing for him, and yeah, perfect scenario. I think all in all of how they put it there.
Well, yeah, and look, we got 4 games here in Anaheim. We got Wake and Bake episode coming out tomorrow, or later in the day if you're listening to this. And again, sorry about we apologize for the technical difficulties here. I'm up on the 12th floor of a Marriott, and you'd think, like I said, the internet would be great. Not the case, and the T-Mobile, they're kind of hating on T-Mobile down here in San Diego. My signal is not very good, but we just wanted to get on here and chop it up for everybody and just talk. I wanted some positive stuff out there because it's been hard, right? I mean, this is probably the most enjoyable time we've had talking about the Mariners in about 3 weeks, and of course we have technical difficulties, but that's just the way it goes, right?
Yeah, I mean, we got to hand it to them. It was cool though. It was nice to see the Mariners make contact. Even their outs, they're making contact, and especially in that first game, that was kind of the most complete game they played in a long time, if not throughout the year. So it was good to see.
Yeah, and I also saw a lot of smiles, but like accomplished smiles. The team looked like the focus is there. But yeah, 4 games coming up in Anaheim. Like I mentioned earlier, they're patching together that pretty much what they're going to do here as far as pitching against the Mariners. This would be a great opportunity. The door seems to be open for the offense to finish strong going into the All-Star break with some positivity about themselves, some confidence. I really would like to see, more than anything, I'd like to see, I guess if I could see a pair of people go off this weekend. I always want to say Julio, Cal, because those are the guys that really, drive the offense. But I'd really love to see a Santos. I'm sorry, excuse me. I'd really like to see a Polanco Garver just explosion. That would be, if I had one wish, just because those are the 2 pieces that we're supposed to really change this offense, and they haven't as far as in the right direction. And it would be nice to see that happen going into the break, especially given the track record of the Mariners in the trade deadline as far as getting bats, because you can't just count that they're going to go out and get them. It's unfortunate that you really just have to kind of look within. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's early. Already heard rumors that the Mariners have reached out to the teams, but until we see it, that's how it is. But on your other point, yeah, we always want to see our horses carry this. But yeah, to have the supplemental guys help us out with Polanco and Garver and kind of pull their weight a little more, I mean, it would be massive for this team in the second half. As we know, Houston's right on our tail. They've had the best record, 15 games over 500 in these last 2 months. And Texas has won a bunch here lately, too, and are now 5 games back. So everybody that contributes is going to make it a lot easier for the Mariners and help out the starters. But as we know, it's going to be a wild ride the second half.
Yeah, and one of our one of our favorite commenters here says Santos is a freaking wild bull. Agreed. That dude is very loose too out in the bullpen. He's I was watching him bob his head along and kind of sing along to take me out to the ball game. Seems like he's very comfortable being out there, even though he's a new guy. I mean, when you're the biggest fucking horse out there, I mean, or as Seth says here, a wild bull. I mean, you're gonna do whatever you want, and everybody else is just gonna kind of gravitate around you, right?
He's the alpha dog.
He's the alpha dog. I love it. Anyways, thanks for liking, subscribing, and all that shit. If you like the street gear, you want that cred, you want that street cred for rocking the rye bread, hit up at simply.core. That's at simply.core. Also check out In the Clutch for some of your, alternative Mariners or Seattle baseball apparel. Also, after the All-Star break, the Mariners are going to be back up in T-Mobile Park, and no matter if the roof is on or off, or open or closed, I should say, Tacos and Tequila's bar and restaurant is always open. So feeling good. Let's end on a positive note. The internet sucked balls, but the Mariners did not. With that being said, Hannah, you know what time it is. Charge. And fuck the Marriott. What is this? 4 points. Wait, this is a Sheraton hotel. God damn it. All right. Anyways, we're end stream.